Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook.com/We Are Rogue Matter, YouTube.com/Rogue Matter, Twitch.tv/We Are Rogue Matter, and Twitter.com/Rogue_Matter. Then we take this wonderfully produced video and turn it into the greatest audio sound you've ever heard. Available on all major podcasting apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. Basically, anywhere you can get a streaming, anywhere you can stream an audio file, we are there. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin. How you doing, sir?
I never managed to ask you, like, what crimes do we commit? Because I'm like the cohort in crime. Like, is there an enterprise? Is there a criminal kind of mastermind kind of situation going on? Because I don't
Well,
know
actually,
what are the
here's the thing.
crimes.
Here's the thing. I have developed a hypnotic suggestion that I've actually been broadcasting just to you. And so you have secretly been committing crimes without realizing it this entire time.
Really?
Yes.
Am I getting paid?
Well, I mean, if you knew that you were committing crimes, then you would have to stop committing crimes. It's part of the hypnotic suggestion. So no. The short answer is no.
While under hypnosis, am I getting paid? Like, even if am I hypnotized?
Oh no,
to
you are
be paid
acquiring wealth for me. I mean, how else did I decorate this office?
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know, man.
I mean, if you'd like a cut, that's fine.
I think you just ruined your gambit just now by telling me. I don't know. But all right, we'll talk about that after the show.
We'll talk about that offline. Yeah,
yes.
Offline hypnotic suggestions. All right, we've got a great show tonight. We have a lot of stuff going. Major announcement yesterday regarding Deadpool and mutants and MCU and the ramifications of it all. We'll talk about that coming up a little later. We will also dive into some major, news in general. DC looking to actually shop their properties. I was reading an article. I want to get your take on that. But first, Rogue Matter presents all the stuff happening on roguematter.com. Kingdom of Tundo. This is the penultimate installment of Kingdom of Tundo. It's Myth and Magic Part 6. This is Rogue Matter Presents. All this stuff is still free, by the way, on roguematter.com. Still don't know how the checks are clearing. They are. All this great content.
Maybe that's the crime.
Maybe that's the crime. Well, not yet, because we're not stealing. Maybe at some point people will have to steal it.
We're getting paid, and and we don't know how we're getting paid. Maybe that's the crime we're committing.
Maybe that's where all the yeah, that's right. Maybe that's where all the wealth is going. It's not just to fund Sire Studios here. It is to fund everything that's going on.
Fund the criminal enterprise, man.
It's Rogue Matter. Yeah, no, it's free. It's up there. It's part 6, and just like we've done with pretty much everything we've done. Tales from Tundo, episode 6 is now up as well as a podcast. Dive in with creator M.A. Del Rosario, host Bevan. Go in depth into what's happening in this epic fantasy series for Rogue Matter. Speaking of epic fantasy series, it's kind of ironic because issue 6 of Tundo does a bit of a time jump. Issue 5 actually starts it off. There's like almost kind of an interlude, and the first 4 installments of Tundo, I'm not gonna say radically different than issues 5 and 6, but definitely a departure. There's a bit of a time jump, and it's kind of veering off into the second half of the story as we approach its conclusion. And another fantasy series just did this. Too much fanfare. I know you were shocked at my statement when we were doing our production meeting that this caught people off guard. And I don't disagree with you because there are things in the trailer, but I would say just the reaction I've gotten is people were caught off guard by this. House of Dragons did some recasting and they jumped ahead in time. So a lot of the major characters basically are just they're different actors and different actresses now. Well, actors, I guess the same thing, whatever. But because it jumps ahead, and it did. It caught me by, it definitely caught me off guard, especially because I didn't actually watch it yet, and then I heard about it, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. It officially swapped Millie Alcock for Emma D'Arcy and Emily Carey for Olivia Cook. So those are the actresses that got swapped out. And the main character, basically, which I'm gonna mispronounce. You do it. Come on, you got it.
Rhaenyra?
What's that?
Rhaenyra?
Rhaenyra Targaryen. Okay, so she was, again, played by the fiery Millie Alcock, a 22-year-old Australian actress, but now it's been taken over by Emma D'Arcy, 30-year-old English actor,
I
best
think
known
it's just
for Mothering
Darcy.
Sunday. What's that?
I think it's just Darcy.
Darcy, yeah, but
you
it's
don't have to pronounce
got
the
the
D.
apostrophe.
Yeah, but I think it's pronounced Darcy.
Okay, well, I'll go with that. And also in the Nick Frost and Simon Pegg show Truth Seekers, that's where she is known for. Queen Alicent Hightower has also been recast. The Cunning Ruler was initially played by 19-year-old British actress Emily Carey, who has previously portrayed the younger counterparts of both Wonder Woman and Tomb Raider heroines. 28-year-old actress Olivia Cook, who most recently played a pivotal role on Apple TV's Slow Horses, but has also appeared in films such as Ready Player One, Thoroughbreds, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, now reigns as the second wife of King Viserys Targaryen. So I got that one right? Right?
Yeah.
Possibly. There we go. Feel good. I
You
know who
watch
they
the
are.
show?
I know who they are. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
enough
if
for
you watch a
names.
show, they pronounce their names in the show. I mean, that's how you know how it's all
Very
pronounced.
infrequently. Very infrequently. Not enough to where you have the advantage because you
You-
read the books. So I think you have like just an
Well,
innate.
first of all, I haven't read Blood and Fire, which is the
No,
dictionary book where this comes from. So no, I have not read
you're
this.
just naturally articulate and verbose and learned. It's learned, son.
I just pay attention to the dialogue when I hear it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
Names.
you know.
I'm bad at with names in real life, though. Like I used to be excellent with names, and then I went to college, and then I just started meeting all these new people, and I'm like, I give up. I give up with that. You know, I give up with the names. Yes, he is Lord.
Yes,
of the radio,
Aaron,
but...
I am the Lord of the radio. I'm
So
the Lord of all I hear.
The recasting got me searching the internet. Actually, it was kind of ironic. I didn't
Got
even have
those
to
wheels turning. This is always bad for me. When
Well, here's the thing. I didn't
you're
even actually have to
inspired by
do any
something.
research. You know those I use Firefox browsers, my main browser, and they always give you these like suggested articles that, certain websites lease out to Firefox so that they'll get extra hits. It's almost like probably a paid advertisement or something for their thing. So I saw something on IndieWire. It said the 25 most controversial recasting decisions in TV and film history. What caught my attention is one they'll name a little bit later. It's in the main graphic. But it goes into the recasting that happened on House of Dragon, which is actually kind of ironic, considering Game of Thrones is notorious for killing off members of the cast.
Yes, that's
but in this case, really, it was just the recasting of said cast members that caused the.
I mean, I'm sure they'll die soon enough. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I wouldn't worry.
So this IndieWire article listed out the 25 most controversial recasting decisions in TV and film history. There are some that I got to tell you, we don't need to even waste time on. There's the Aladdin franchise. I mean, obviously Robin Williams is not going to be playing Genie anymore, and it's not really very controversial. There's a Batwoman where they I guess that one is sort of, Ruby Rose was recast. And then I guess that one actually is you know what? I should have probably cued Aaron to grab that graphic. Oh, she did anyway. Look at her. Wonderful. The Batwoman one was pretty good. The CW made headlines casting Orange as the new Black Star Ruby Rose as Batwoman. Yet Rose would play her for just one season before getting replaced by Wallace Day. The actor claimed they left the series due to unsafe working conditions. She was hospitalized for neck and back injury. So it was I would say, out of the ones they list on this article, that one really fits the definition of, controversial, correct? I mean, that kind of hits it right on the head.
Well, not really. I mean, if they quit because something stupid happened on set, there's no controversy. Controversy is either something like sort of scandalous or something mysterious, and there's nothing really
Well, this was
mysterious about that.
scandalous. I mean, she made a big stink about it, and I mean, really
All right.
went after them, and then DC went after Warner Brothers went after her, saying this is not true. We investigated, nothing nothing to this extent that she was talking about happened.
Okay.
So definitely not.
Fair enough.
Yeah, not good, not good. Bewitched. Now this one I'm only bringing up because this the Darren Stevens recasting was the first time I ever, as a kid, I was watching these reruns, Nickelodeon, things like that. It's the first time I ever actually noticed that, hey, wait a minute, that guy doesn't look the same. What's going on with that? I don't understand. They're calling him the same thing.
Yeah.
The actors are even named the same thing. There's Dick Sargent and Dick York. And I got to be honest, it completely blew my mind as the first recasting that I can think of. So I don't know. How old were you, or were you like? I think I might have been like 7 or 8 years old. So things like recasting just didn't. It boggled my mind. I didn't understand because I thought these people were real. Clearly,
Yeah, I don't know if I
the people are
watched
real.
Bewitched all that much, but I
No?
do. Yeah, but I mean the Dick York and Dick Sargent swap out is kind of notorious in television history. So
Yeah, no, it is. It's very notorious. I didn't know.
Aaron's right. Yeah, you would not have survived
Yeah.
too many soap opera.
Well,
series.
once I got Bewitched under my belt, then I was expecting it. So definitely at that point I was in good shape.
They replaced Lionel from the Jeffersons, one of the son of the Willises. He was replaced. I remember that's kind of probably the first time I noticed, like, hey, that does not look like the guy from last season. So that was probably my first foray into, like, wait a minute, these people can be replaced. You could just put a whole different person in there and call them by the same name. I'm not supposed to notice. And then my mom was like, I don't care if you notice or not.
I like that though. That's a good one, and it's a good precursor to the one that I think is, to me, the most notorious one. The Dark Knight trilogy, Rachel Dawes' character, Katie Holmes started out as Rachel Dawes and was replaced by Maggie Gyllenhaal. I don't think it's very controversial, but it was definitely noticeable, I would say. Big difference there.
That's not unnoticeable. But Katie Holmes is a smart one because she got out without getting blown up.
So. Yeah, well, that's true, actually. Katie Holmes probably read the script and was like, I'm out.
I'm not getting blown up. I have a special no getting blown up clause in my contract. So
exactly,
this violates my agreement. I'm out of here.
Exactly. There's another Game of Thrones on this list that I bring up only because again, just when you're going to recast somebody, like, recast them sort of to look the same. Dario Naharis, he was was plenty successful when Ed Skrein first appeared as Daenerys Targaryen's champion in season 3. That HBO didn't get his character's casting right the first time is a bit of a head scratcher. Michael Huisman took up the part in season 4, with many fans speculating Skrein left thanks to his new role in the Transformers franchise. The actor, however, told Entertainment Weekly at the time it was a lot more political than that. I don't know. Other notable recastings include Gregor Clegane, aka the Mountain. Although
3 times I think they cast him.
Yeah. And Halfor Julius Bjornsson for the remainder of the series. Yes. And Tommen Baratheon,
who make some really funny commercials for seltzer water. Those are fantastic.
Yep. No. I think that's going to be good. One that I thought was interesting too was the Hannibal Lecter franchise. This is one where it's one of those recasting decisions where it's like spot on. You replaced Julianne Moore. You replaced Jodie Foster, Academy Award-winning actress, with another Academy Award-winning actress, and they look similar enough to where it's not totally jarring. You know what I mean? It's not.
Jodie Foster doesn't look anything like Julianne Moore.
I would say similar enough. Similar.
I know you would, but she doesn't. You're incorrect about that. They don't look anything alike, and I remember that vividly. I'm like, wow. Did
that really catch you off guard at that point? Like,
no, not off guard. I was like, I mean, I knew that was happening, but I was like, oh,
look at the picture on screen. Look at that. That's
they don't
for those
look
not seeing, there's a side by side.
They look nothing alike. I don't know. I mean, all right.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know? You don't know whether they. All right. Yeah, time for
I
glasses.
feel like
Time for some
very
glasses.
similar. Very similar.
What makes them similar? Because they're women. They're two
They
women.
both have reddish hair. They both, they both have a similar talking. The voice is very similar. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. This one we definitely.
We're not gonna mention Anthony Hopkins, from Brian Cox to Anthony Hopkins to what's his name for the young Hannibal Lecter.
We could.
I forgot who plays him in Hannibal Rising. I don't know it. I don't know the actor's name. But those are the three right there.
Gaspard Ulliel. That's the one. Yeah, Gaspard Ulliel. Well, I mean, anytime you're casting a young Anthony Hopkins, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, you have to. But I mean, that's a
right. That's
and obviously,
crazy.
Brian Cox was the first person to play the role, and yet Anthony Hopkins is the one who made him famous, clearly, or uncontroversially.
Well, look at the picture here. Look at this thing. That is, I mean, like Brian Cox and Anthony Hopkins. That looks again, the Brian Cox version looks a little bit younger. That looks like what he would be, later on. So I think that at least side by side looks pretty comparable. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it'll work. I mean, it works. And then clearly Anthony Hopkins, like he had that role for dinner. So I mean, it's fine that people kind of forget that Brian Cox came first, because Anthony Hopkins just really blew that role up. But that is a casting change if it's in the criteria.
No, I agree. There's one on the Harry Potter franchise, but I think Aaron has a much more in-depth one that will break out in the next segment.
Harry Potter. Are you talking about lavender?
Yeah.
Very blatant lavender brown. Yeah. Yes, I remember that. I remember that being a thing. I don't remember it in the movies because I didn't see the one before this, so I don't know who.
I have not seen a single Harry Potter film nor read a single Harry Potter book. I'm good with that. I feel good about it. I feel like I'm in an exclusive club that, I'm content with that. I have almost zero interest. I mean, unless you count being in a restaurant when they had Harry Potter movies on in the background. Never seen a single movie. I couldn't even tell you I made up the dialogue at that point. So, all right, this one's right in our wheelhouse. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Hulk. Ed Norton played Bruce Banner for the Marvel Universe in 2008. In The Incredible Hulk, when it was revealed that Norton would not continue his journey, Kevin Feige released a statement citing the need for an actor who embodies a collaborative spirit. Norton has since said he had a great time doing the project and holds no ill will toward Feige. Mark Ruffalo obviously went on to play the lovable Green Giant and even made mention of the fact that he is a completely different person in the now
from the original
She-Hulk.
From the second Hulk movie.
Aaron asks, what about Eric Bana? Eric Bana
was that
was pre-MCU. That's pre-MCU. That might as
well.
Yeah,
but that's a casting change. That's a different cast member playing
without cast. They'd almost have to acknowledge that movie then, in that sense. Because obviously Spider-Man has been recast. Spider-Man has been recast 3 times. That's,
Yeah, you didn't specify the criteria. You just talked about casting changes. You didn't say that.
Well, actually, I'm just reading from this article, and I kind of agree with it. And in the article, it was just Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo, because it's in the same cinematic universe. That's like saying that Adam West to Michael Keaton was a bold casting move, like a bold recasting. I don't know. I'm sure Batman will be touched upon in the next one, though, because there's definitely within that cinematic universe some recasting that has gone on. And finally, in this is the big one for me: Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Aunt Viv. That was one of those ones where. So I was 14 when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was on the air. Maybe I was probably even earlier, probably younger, but I think that season I was like 14, and it was one of those like, whoa, man, Aunt Viv looks different. But then to me, this was one of the first instances of meta that worked, that I recognized was when Will Smith, when he sees Aunt Viv, is like, hey, Aunt Viv, you look different. You do something with your hair. It was just like, It was one of those wink, wink, nod, nod to the audience, and I totally loved it. That was, I don't know. To me, that is the most controversial recasting decision, though, out of this entire group.
And
Your take.
Roseanne replaced Darlene, not Darlene, the other daughter.
The two Darlenes.
No, there's another daughter.
Oh
but
yeah,
I
look
forget
at
her
that.
name. Yeah, there it is with Kristen Cloak or whatever. And they actually Becky. Yeah, they actually said during one of the scenes in the show that when she came home from college, we hardly recognized her. So
Yeah.
they actually made mention of it. That was pretty clever.
All right, so
Aunt Viv, I never watched Fresh Prince, so
you never did. I loved
didn't.
French Prince. That was great.
Yeah,
man, that was
wasn't
that
my
time period too. Again, the early '90s to me is just one of those creative, paradises, right? Like music was great, comics were great, movies were great, TV shows were great. I mean, I know the '80s you could make a strong argument that the '80s were stronger than the '90s, or the '90s were stronger than the '80s.
Not for me.
I go early '90s as probably the best, though, personally, just because I don't think the music in the '80s was, to the artistic quality that the '90s have. But I would completely understand an argument saying the '80s were better than the '90s. I vote for the '90s over the '80s, but to me,
yeah,
I
but
feel
that's
like,
your, speaking of
oh
role
yeah,
changes, that's just a standard like James Bond argument. Which is your favorite James Bond?
sure.
Which is the best James
No,
Bond?
agreed.
So,
That's
there's
that's
no
kind of what I'm
winning that
saying.
fight.
That's what I'm kind of saying. I wouldn't put up a huge kerfuffle.
It's a kerfuffle.
Brouhaha. I'm trying to think of other. Nah, fuss is too little.
I know, but I mean, it gets the job done.
All right.
Expedience,
These were the top
Expedience.
25, and there was more that we just didn't even want to bother.
Those weren't even the top 25, and they weren't controversy.
Well,
there's no.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because when we come back, our producer Erin found a whole bunch that we didn't even touch about, that were not mentioned in this article, and she thinks constitutes a much more controversial casting decision when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wav podcast. We were digesting an IndieWire article talking about the 25 most controversial recastings in television history, kind of based off the House of Dragon kerfuffle that was happening. And then also just talking about Kingdom of Tundo, which is on roguematter.com right now. Go check it out. It's free to read and free to download. Well, not free to download, free to read. Go to the site, check it out, and check it out on mobile. It's great. Which also had kind of a time lapse, which is what House of the Dragon did, which is what led to the recasting, which is what led to this wonderful discussion. But apparently, our producer Erin has figured out a bunch of recastings that were not mentioned at all and constitute a much more controversial recasting than this. So, Erin, what do we got here? Oh, the first one was Becky, she just said. So we did go through Becky. So Hassan, you stole her thunder.
I'm sorry.
We've got Becky. All right, flash them up there. This one I agree with 100%. So for our listening audience out there, the Iron Man recasting, Rhodey Rhodes getting James Rhodes, but getting recast it was Terrence Howard, and then getting
Don Cheadle changed into John Cheadle overnight.
I agree with that 100%. And that was very controversial too, because there was definitely some behind the scenes strife that was going on as to the reason for the recasting.
They're none too fond of each other. It seems like there's no love lost between Robert Downey Jr. and Terrence Howard.
No,
apparently.
No, that seemed to not go over so swimmingly. What's next on our list of things they missed? I don't even know who this is. Do you know who this is?
Nope.
Aaron's gonna have to give us a heads up.
There's two guys with beards.
Yeah, is this from Men in Tights?
Guys with goatees.
Thandril from Throw. What is that? The Lord of the
No
Rings?
guy, no clue.
Oh, from Thor. Nah, Thandril.
Oh
Nah,
yeah. Oh, it's one of the
nah,
three. Now we
nah.
look bad because we should know that. We should have known that.
I was leaning on maybe like some sort of Lord of the Rings. He looked.
No, that
I
is
thought it was Men
not
in Tights.
that guy. That guy
First,
did not look like he was from Lord of the Rings. Not at all.
well, like Men in Tights. Something
Men in Tights.
like that. All right, what's next? Let's skip to something we're good with. All right, Quicksilver.
Oh,
Now that's
this is
an
kind of
interesting one.
yeah. It almost doesn't work unless you take WandaVision into account
Correct.
because it's two different franchises.
Correct. So Quicksilver in Avengers Ultron was
No, it's not.
Was played by Taylor Johnson.
Kick-Ass.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting if it's Anthony Taylor Johnson. No, I think it's I gotta look that up here.
Yeah, Kick-Ass. That's what I know him as.
Aaron, I knew it. Aaron Taylor Johnson. And then you have obviously the Quicksilver from the X-Men.
From the Fox X-Men franchise.
Yes.
Completely different superhero franchise. Same two people playing the same character.
Evan Peters, yeah. Evan Peters.
And that Kevin Peters was actually a Magneto's son in that.
Correct.
Whereas that Quicksilver in the MCU was not.
Correct. That is correct.
Wow. Hugh Jackman did not age at all. That's funny.
That's pretty incredible. There's a meme that has Hugh Jackman talking to the young version of Professor X and Magneto, and
talking to
also he looks like that. He's wearing the exact same suit. So now we know Hugh Jackman goes into every interview with the same suit on.
Yes, we do.
Sans facial hair or pro facial hair. Michael Fassbender, yes.
Fassbender and McAvoy. And then talking to Patrick Stewart and Ian
McKellen. So when I look at Patrick Stewart there, though, I go, look, it's Professor X. Like, he's not even a real person. He is.
That's Professor Captain X. Picard. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's not Professor X. He's Captain Picard.
We touched upon this in the earlier segment as well, too. The Spider-Man recastings. Now, again, this is where it gets tricky in the sense that you could say in the Sonyverse, the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield one would be controversial, except it's a total reboot. So even though it takes place in the same, it takes place from the same studio, it's completely different. And then obviously the MCU, but then you do have them all reconvening in the in the now infamous No Way Home. So and doing the infamous Spider-Man cartoon meme as well too. So what do you think, Aaron? Are we all done? Is that it? Did we miss any more recastings? Oh no, she says. We're not done. Oh, we got more.
Oh, the Oracle
out of this
from the Matrix. The woman. Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. If only people cared about the sequel Matrix
movies. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes, Morpheus recasting though. Morpheus recasting, I do have to say, that is a controversial one. I agree with that because
well, not really. Not according to the story.
Lawrence Fishburne went out and was like, I never got invited. He's like, he wanted to come back and they didn't want him.
Yeah, but I mean, the story kind of explains why he's not in it.
Sure.
So, well, he's not he's not the same Morpheus.
Yeah, I mean, it explains the recasting, but it's also could have had him in there and dropped like the line or two about how he's not the exact, you know what I mean? Like it was almost.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. They did have him not in it, and they did drop a line or two to explain why he wasn't in it. So
no, I agree, but I mean, it's still like interesting that they didn't ask the original. Like part of me, this is my point though, right? I think that we'll never know what the actual reason was. Like if like they justified it in the story, but could have easily have just brought him back, because and shed 2 lines of dialogue. And had him in it just like everyone else. So it's interesting to see why he.
Well, everyone else wasn't in it, though. I mean, what's his name?
The 3 main actors are Carrie-Anne Moss, Keanu Reeves, and Lawrence Fishburne, and 2 of the 3 reappeared. So interesting.
Yeah, and there's also Hugo Weaving who wasn't in it, and he was one of the main characters. He's the main villain.
But he didn't want to be in it though.
All right.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, you heard articles, and he's like, yeah, I had no interest in being in these things. Lawrence Fishburne was like, I would have loved to have been in this. So it makes it, I don't know. Methinks there might be a story there that we
I
don't know about.
understand. I understand what you're saying. Here's the thing is, if Lawrence Fishburne had said nothing about it, I would have
Yes,
been happy to be in it. It wouldn't have been a controversy
correct,
because it's not like they replaced him because they didn't like him.
correct,
There was an in-story reason why he didn't look like the other character.
correct.
So it wasn't like it was like subterfuge, and they were just like,
Right,
you know, you won't notice that that's not Lawrence Fishburne. It's very
correct.
specifically not Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes,
So I mean,
yes,
if he hadn't said that he would have been in it and nobody contacted him, there would be no controversy because it wasn't really a subversive replacement for the you know, because they just didn't
right,
like him.
right. No,
But anyway, okay.
all right. What else we got, Aaron? And then we'll wrap this up. No idea who this kid is.
Well, that's the never-ending story. That's Sebastian. Those are the
Never
two
seen that.
Sebastians.
Never
I'm
seen
not
it.
surprised. Anyway, well, there's a 3. They replaced him 3 times. That's the first
Never.
one. Is the
No,
one
but
on
here's something that's
Okay.
interesting for you, or
Mhm.
maybe it's not. I don't know, but I think it's interesting. Is the fact that I actually always wanted to watch Neverending Story when I was a kid. Like it was one of those things because I remember seeing. But this is a memo to Gen Z and millennials. Getting content, back then, not as easy as it is now. I mean, you had to literally go to the store, maybe, find a place that would actually sell these kind of things or possibly rent it. I remember going to Blockbuster. It was always gone. Like if it was like movie night or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is my chance. I want to I'd go with a list of like, like here's the 3 movies I want to see. Neverending Story would be on it, and it would always be rented. Like the Blockbuster we go to, I'm like, damn it. Like that was my chance.
I don't remember the name of the kid from the first one, unfortunately. I know that was Jonathan Brandis for the second one.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, Jonathan Brandis. And then there's the kid from the third one.
Well, I like that Aaron doesn't even give him like proper space in there.
I bailed on I didn't see the third one, so
Yeah.
I had already walked away from the whole franchise by the third one. The Free Willy kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Macaulay Culkin,
I'll never
that was in the article too. I think at that point you don't, you just kind of.
you just
Not,
kind of
Home Alone is not. Once you get past the first one, maybe you squeeze in the second one, but I'm not too. I'm not too.
Yeah, I'm surprised you just kind of glaze over this because that's a pretty significant casting
Again,
change
I didn't glaze
history.
over anything. I didn't glaze over
You kind
anything.
of did.
IndieWire.
Yeah, but I mean,
Remember, I just pulled it from
IndieWire. It's like you just got to just step out on your own and. Like,
well, that's what this segment's all about here. See.
Okay.
That's what we're doing here. We're staking a claim here. I have a friend of mine who thinks Timothy Dalton is the best Bond.
All right. That's interesting. That's an interesting choice.
We've got every single Bond up there right now. Roger Moore, Daniel Craig, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan. The 007 franchise. Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Who's the other guy? Can you name him?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
I
could not tell you.
That's Lazenby. He played him only once.
Whew. Look at you.
Yeah, Roger Moore is all the way.
I said Roger Moore.
Yeah, but the guy between Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery is, I think, George Lazenby.
Well, Dalton was between them too. Dalton was the It's actually between Roger Moore and Dalton.
Huh?
It was Connery then Moore. Right?
Never mind. I'm talking about the lineup that we're looking at right now.
Oh, I got you. No, I just thought I was talking about the chronology.
The guy between Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan and
got you.
Sean Connery,
Sorry. So again,
all right,
we're looking at a picture on screen for our listening audience. The way it sounded to me was the guy he appeared between Pierce Brosnan and Connery.
No, the first one was Sean Connery, then George Lazenby, then Roger Moore, I think,
right,
and then Timothy Dalton, and then Pierce Brosnan, and then Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
that's the order.
And obviously Superman. There's been many
Don't know the
Superman.
first one. I know George Reeves and then Christopher Reeves, and then the Superboy, the two Superboys that they recast, and I don't know their names. And then I know what's his name? The one from Lois and Clark. Oh, I can't believe I can't
Dean
remember his name.
Cain.
Dean Cain, yeah. And then
But check this out.
Tom from
George Reeves. George Reeves is the
Tom Wellington, yeah. Tom Wellington
yeah.
from Smallville. And then what's his name from wow, they got his picture from Crisis up instead of his picture from
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh from his.
So George
his
Reeves,
Superman
interesting
movie.
enough. Did you see the Ben Affleck movie about him?
Then there's
because he played like he originated the Superman curse. There was this.
Yeah, I know. I saw that movie. And ironically, he played it with what's her name? Who played his? Who played? I can't remember any of these names because you won't let me remember the name.
I want to know what you remember.
Diane Lane played George Reeves' girlfriend, Ben Affleck's girlfriend in the George Reeves movie. But then she also played Martha Kent in the in what's his name's movie? What's his name? Who's it?
As we're going through this, Lee Quigley, who played Superman as a baby.
Henry Cavill. Thank you. I don't know why you're not listening to me.
I'm not listening to you. Because I literally, you're not listening to me. I literally said I'm looking up the curse right now. I'm not looking up that.
Yeah, but when we're trying to do the content for the. All right, never mind.
Well, I know this is content. I'm looking up the curse. Other alleged victims:
they can't
Marlon
hear
Brando,
you look
Margot
something
Kidder,
up.
Richard Pryor, Dana Reeve, Jerry Siegel, and Joe Shuster. I mean, literally, if you're gonna say there's a Superman curse, I mean, you could curse anything, right? Like eventually people die. Some die under tragic circumstances. You know, it's got to be curse worthy. There, Wikipedia, get better.
It's only George Reeves and Christopher Reeves that were really had the. I mean, I don't think it was much of a curse.
Right.
There's Adam West
the
and then Michael Keaton
and
then Val Kilmer and George Clooney and Kristen Bale and Ben Affleck, my favorite, and Robert Pattinson, who was better than he should have been. It was a way better movie than I really enjoyed the Batman. I don't know Robert Lowry. I never saw those two Batmen and Lewis Wilson. I never saw the first two. I was not alive, and it was very rare that they were shown. What?
I mean, his cowl. If you're looking at the cowls of the black and white Batman, looks a little cheesy. All right, let's end it right here. I think we've covered.
Thank God.
We've covered a lot here.
The Doctor Who's.
See, I can't comment on Doctor Who. I know nothing about Doctor Who. Absolutely nothing. Aaron's like, I had more, but cool. But we got big news to talk about, Aaron. We got big news coming up. We will go all around the Rogue. Next segment, major MCU announcement took place last night. Is it a sign of desperation or is it a calculated, brilliant move? We will discuss when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I love this segment. I mostly love the graphic for it, but this is where we go all around the Rogue, talking about the pop culture news you love to talk about. Was going to talk about some DC stuff. Might still talk about some DC stuff if we have some time, but gotta go all around the Rogue and talk about the major Deadpool casting announcement that took place last night. Good old Ryan Reynolds, just being Ryan Reynolds, right? Just doing his Ryan Reynolds thing. Releases a video and makes a huge announcement here where basically we're going to get some more Hugh. That's right. Hugh Jackman, who we just were talking about before, will return in Deadpool 3 as Wolverine. It was actually a very comical video. He kind of is talking about how he did some soul searching and was trying to come up with a grandiose way to enter the MCU, which of course is very difficult to do. And then he's like, I got nothing. So we did have one idea, and Hugh Jackman just happens to be in Ryan Reynolds' house brushing his teeth and walks right past him and says, hey, you want to be in Deadpool 3? And Wolverine, I know him by nothing else. He's like, sure, Ryan, whatever. And just walks up the stairs. It also confirmed the movie will officially hit theaters September 6th, 2024. My cousin texted me when this happened, and my initial thought was, yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, why would it be, of course Hugh Jackman's going to return. Like, I never bought the fact that once Fox was sold, there he goes right there. Once Fox was sold to Disney, to me, this is just a matter of time before he returned to, I mean, the MCU is like it's the cool party to be in now. Everyone wants to be in the MCU. And especially, I mean, look at Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. I mean, this is it. You want to be in the cool club. This is the cool club. So, to me, this was, look at that. Look at that. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds talking. I don't even know. I didn't even see this part. Did you see that part?
I hadn't seen this at all, ever.
You didn't see this at all?
I heard the announcement. I knew the announcement. I heard the announcement, but I didn't see the trailer for it.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman.
I would have probably avoided it anyway because I despise Ryan Reynolds.
You really?
So I would have probably just kind of I missed out on it because I would have been like, Ryan Reynolds, I'm not watching this.
I have to find an interview. I'm almost positive I still have the audio somewhere, but there's really not a lot of, like, if it's not on this this drive that I have, then I don't have it at all. But definitely, like, that's something I need to break out, because it is me interviewing Ryan Reynolds, and he was an awesome dude. Like, he was just flat out.
I met him. I met him at Texas in the Texas Con. He was a great guy. I just don't like his shtick. I don't have anything. I don't have any problem with him personally. I think he's probably a decent guy. He makes some solid movies. The 2 or 3 movies I saw him in where he was actually dramatic and he was acting, I really liked him. And I don't like his form of humor. So.
No,
no.
I'm gonna shoot this over to Aaron, and maybe we can prop this up. I didn't even think about this, which I should have. Is a wonderful picture of a young lad who never was a journalism major and somehow got into Wizard magazine and ended up doing all the interviews for conventions. Which, who knew? It was a precursor to this, Hassan. Who knew? But no, I thought it was a pretty interesting. Like, one of those things. There we are. Yeah, there I am. Yep. So you can see me on screen. Anybody watching, go to youtube.com/Rogue Matter and check it out, because it looks good. There's
how do
a young
we know
me.
That's you?
Well, do you know who that is back there? It's Darren Sanchez in the background.
Yes, that's very easy to tell. But I mean, how do we know that's you?
It's clearly me. It's a much younger me. I had more hair back then. It was a good time. And look how young Ryan Reynolds was, too. It was for Blade Trinity. I was interviewing him for that. I got to find that interview. I insulted him. It was very nice. You would have been proud. I wonder. So here, many things come to mind when I think about this announcement. First of all, the MCU, right? This is something.
Yes, and Jessica Biel.
Yes,
was Jessica Biel.
She was very nice. She's a lovely.
And David Goyer.
Yes.
And Darren Sanchez.
And Darren Sanchez. They all look very enthralled by my questions, though.
They look.
Did you see that photo? Except David Goyer, who is sinking into his.
David Goyer was asleep. You put
David Goyer's like, I want to have this interview so badly.
Yeah, you put him to sleep. But the other two look like, oh well, we're getting paid, so we might as well listen to this guy.
I don't think they were getting paid back then, though. This is pre Comic Cons. This was promotion. This was part of their contract to go and promote these films.
All
I
right,
don't
so
think they
then the
actually
look
got
is
paid.
we're not even getting paid. Why should we even talk to
Yeah,
this guy? I mean, it works either way.
because I was extremely entertaining, enthralling,
They
captivating.
looked
Even
they look captivated,
they
enthralled, and
did.
entertained.
They are
Absolutely.
pretty good actors, though, aren't they? um, here's the thing, right? This to me, part of me was again, almost expected Wolverine, Hugh Jackman to be Wolverine again. Like just again, this is not something that kind of threw me off. It makes total sense. The only avenue can be Deadpool 3. It will probably be a multiverse thing. It almost has to be a multiverse thing because there's the issue, obviously, of, going forward, who is going to be Wolverine. Hugh Jackman retired. And even if he didn't retire, he's getting up there in age to the point where they're going to need to recast that if they're going to
But I
have
mean,
Wolverine at
Wolverine
all.
is no spring chicken. Like, the actual character of Wolverine is not a young
Correct.
guy. So, I mean, they don't
Correct.
necessarily have to replace him if
Correct.
they didn't want to. I'm sure Hugh Jackman doesn't want to stay. Well, I don't know. They if they give him a Brinks truck full of money, then he'll probably stay.
All right. I mean,
But
but
I'm
let's
pretty
let's
sure this is a
assume
one
let's just
shot.
make the assumption that there's going to be a new Wolverine at some point. I'm going to assume that they will leave that door open for Hugh Jackman to return, but for the most part, it's going to be a multiverse kind of situation where Hugh Jackman, if he chooses not to continue, they can bring a new Wolverine in and keep the franchise going. But that being said, this to me feels like Spider-Man No Way Home now, and it feels like, look, I'm going to call it a gimmick, but I'm not going to call that a negative gimmick. And Ryan Reynolds even said, like, look, I got nothing for why this is going to be an amazing thing. So why not do this? Because it is an amazing stunt cast move to do, is to bring Hugh Jackman back, who said he was done, to bring back as one of the most popular characters of all time, and see two characters and two actors who have gone at each other playfully, jokingly for so many years. Like, it's a great move to do, right? It's a great gimmick. It's a great stunt. It definitely will get eyeballs. And I'm not against it. I'm really not. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. But it does two things for me. One, it makes me believe this is the first. I mean, this is going to be the first mutant, Miss Marvel aside, from the previous X-Men, iterations, in terms of characters, not necessarily actors or actresses, that are going to make their appearances in the MCU. Professor X obviously did a cameo in the Multiverse of Madness. Again, it kind of, the multiverse lends itself to this. It facilitates things like this where you can bring in previous actors to play these characters, but a cameo here, a cameo there. We're not getting mutants before 2024. That was my first, thought. Thinking deeper from this, we're not going to get X-Men characters. We might, you had that fake Quicksilver in WandaVision. You've had a lot of teasing, but I think this is the definitive. We're not getting X-Men before Deadpool 3 comes out. And B, again, on the gimmick side of things, and again, I was all about it with No Way Home, because it worked. It worked really well. However, No Way Home was exciting because of the two movies that had, the two franchises that had come out previous, right? To me, the gimmick works because there was that whole franchise thing that had come out previous. This works because of all the franchise that came out previous. But to me, it's like, okay, phase 4 and 5, there's a problem when you keep running the same, when you now, look, Guardians of the Galaxy turned out to be a big hit. Iron Man, you could call a B character, but outside of that, now, the excitement, I don't know if the MCU is capable of delivering the same kind of Endgame-esque thrills with characters that are not the major franchise characters. And X-Men's going to be it when they eventually show up. But prior to that, I feel like, all right, I'm going to look forward to Deadpool 3. Everything else, I'm going to go, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to walk out going, that was good or that was bad, but not be moved by it. Like Shang-Chi, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Nice movie. I'm not moved by it. I'm not moved by any of the stuff that's on Disney Plus these days. I thought WandaVision was great. I thought Loki was interesting, but I'm not like, it's not earth-shattering stuff to me. And the build up to it, I think, to get something that has the same level of excitement that, Infinity War was able to produce, that Endgame was able to produce. This will be up there, but it's gimmick more than story driven. You're shaking your head agreeing with me. I understand.
No, I'm shaking my head because you kind of seem like you're trying to ask a question, but you're not finishing any of your sentences.
I'm not
and you're
asking a
jumping
question.
from
No, I'm
subject
not
to
asking
subject.
a question.
So your point was then it's a gimmick.
And it's the second time it's being used now.
That's like I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
No, but I'm saying it's a gimmick. They used it with No Way Home, but what it ultimately speaks to me and says, all right, MCU Phase 4, and then going into Phase 5 is going to be. They're relying on gimmicks to generate the same level of excitement that their previous movies had just done, kind of organically, story-wise, character-wise, and that's look. I'm not going to knock MCU. What it did is what it has done is unprecedented. It is amazing. But at some point, just like the convention bubble, we're waiting for that convention, the Comic-Con bubble to burst. How many more massive Comic-Cons can there be to the point where eventually people grow tired of said Comic-Con and it's okay. It's not what it was. It's just okay. And this is one of those things where I'm like, all right, this might be a marker. We might look back and say, you know what? This was the time period where the MCU kind of ran out of gimmicks and maybe their movies just aren't doing what it used to do. That's what it says. That's what it speaks to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And by your silence, you agree clearly that is exactly what you get out of this casting as well. What do you take from this casting?
If all I have to do to agree with you is just not talk, then hey, let's go with that. let's
but what's your take? I mean, do you think this is a gimmick or a gimmick that
like
beyond just a gimmick?
Of course it's a gimmick, but I mean, what's wrong with gimmicks? Everything is a gimmick. Like someone said that, someone said something else one time was a cash grab. Yeah, movies are cash grabs. Like they don't make movies for free. They don't make them for their own edification. Everything is a cash grab. A restaurant is a cash grab. They want your money. They're going to give you food and they want your money. You open a restaurant.
But a cash grab means you're not going to get quality.
No. That's an implied meaning. Basically, the term in and of itself is cash grab. It's being done only specifically to make money, right?
Yes.
And it's a capitalist society. Everything is a cash grab. So it's a nonsense critique.
No, it's not. I disagree.
Yeah,
100%.
it is. I know you don't agree with me. That's fine. Yeah. But you asked me what I thought, right? So you're gonna now you're gonna talk over me, even though I sat here in silence and let you speak for the whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my take on it.
That is a cash grab, and that's okay.
It's not a cash grab, and if it is a gimmick, fine. It's only bad if it doesn't work, and you can't know.
Oh, I think it'll definitely work. No, it'll definitely work.
No, you can't say it will work. You can't know if it will or won't.
I know.
Work.
I know. I can't. But my prediction is it will work. Yeah, it will absolutely work. I have no doubt.
The bottom line of saying as to whether or not it's a failure or it's the Phase 4 is a failure. It's not, or that their ideas are bankrupt and they're not going anywhere. I mean, their movies are still making a lot of money.
I'm not worried about the ideas. I'm not worried about the.
You asked me a question. I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to clarify though. I want to clarify what I was saying though. I'm saying that it's not as if I think their ideas are bankrupt.
I know, but I wasn't responding to your statement. I'm saying
no, I know. My point, my statement, what I was saying in my statement was, I think that the B-level characters, the C-level characters, it's a tremendous uphill battle for them to generate the same kind of excitement that we got from the A-list characters that were previously in the
especially since the A-list characters ended pretty much 3 years ago, and you're not even going to give it the 10 years that those characters had to build up before you announce that they failed, then yeah, I guess not. I guess it's not going to amount to anything. That's fair. Yeah. Good for you. Well done.
That's the kind of cutting, in-depth argument we love to get on this show. What do you guys think? Chime in on the feed. Is this gimmicks for gimmicks' sake, stunt casting? Is it? Are we all for it? Like I said, I'm
Don't
for
go
it.
though.
I'm for it in this time. What's that?
Don't go if
No,
it's a
look.
gimmick. If you feel not you, I'm talking to them. If
Oh,
you
now you're
feel
talking
it's
to
a
them.
gimmick and it's not, never mind. Then I'm good then, dude.
I'm just saying.
I'm good.
I think that it's gimmick, absolutely, but I'm for it. If you're for it as well too, that would be will be interesting to see. All right, let us know what you think. Chime in on the Facebook feed. Chime in on the YouTube comment. He's mouthing stuff to see. That's good. Our audio, our listening audience can't hear him. Next week, it's New York Comic Con preview week because I'll be in New York Comic Con for pretty much the entire time. So we'll dive in. We'll take a look at some of the announcements. We'll give you a little bit of a preview. We've got a big major guest coming on next week as well too, which is Deirdre Eden. She's got a new book out on Rogue Matter. It is called The Watchers. It is debuting next week, and it is going to be tremendous. It is Rogue Matter's answer to the Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. It's an ebook, so it's right in those veins, fantasy veins. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will see you folks next week. Rogue Wave. Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode of the Rogue Wave podcast.